What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Joined alongside Tim live in Green Bay. We had Emilio in here just a second ago. He'll be joining us shortly. You know how it is, Tim. He's always running behind.
Hey, that's all right though. He flies in right from the job site, right? Gets ready. Sometimes he's on time, sometimes he's a little late. It's all good.
That's exactly right. Out there making that money, man. Making that money. And when you make that money, you can spend that money in a good spot. And that's with the good folks over it. Tim, so tonight I'm expecting a light crowd, man. We got the Brewers playing this evening. We got Thursday night football on. And I still, it's like, should we just take the night off? No, can't do it, man. Got to get in here and talk some Packers, man. So
for sure.
Before we kind of get cranked up, is there anything on the forefront of your mind you want to hit on? I know we got a bunch of stuff to cover. How's Tim feeling this evening? What have you been diving into this week? What's on your mind, man?
Feeling great about this Packers team playing this banged up LA Rams team on Sunday. I feel like we got a chance to get right. Looks like it's going to be a good game. I mean, this is a winnable football game. We should go out and get that dub and bounce back against the Rams, although you can never count a team like that out. But they're primed to catch that L. So looking forward to that. Also saw a little glimpse of the injury report. I'm sure we'll get to that today as well. But looks like things are trending upward for the Packers in that department. So excited.
I think so, man. Give a shout out to Daniel Berry Sports Highlights in the house. We got Greg Rice, Chris Ian, Prince is in the house, Chewy's in the house. We got Tim Reese, Mountain Man Pack, John Capel, or Capel maybe. I don't know. Let's see who else in here. Bates just chimed in. The president has entered the chat. Everybody sit up straight. All right, act cool. Just another celebrity in here. That's all. But now, so we got some practice updates, obviously. We'll start to dive into that here, and I'm hoping we got time. We'll start to look at the Rams game a little bit closer and kind of give you guys an idea of what they do good, maybe what they do not so good. But Wes Hawkins tweeted this out. Jaire Alexander with the groin, Kenny Clark with the toe, Elton Jenkins with the knee, all return for Thursday's padded practice. Luke Musgrave, Christian Watson, Devontae White, Edgerrin Cooper, who was on the bike, and Romeo Doubs were not participating today. Okay, so again, that was Wes Hawkins that tweeted this video out. Ja looks good here, Tim. I don't know if you can see this or not, but my man running around, catching passes, having a blast, bringing that energy like he always does. I think Jaire looks like he's probably going to play this Sunday. What do you think, man?
I think so too, and it's a good thing. We missed him certainly last week, no doubt about it. And like you said, man, it's not even just the technical aspect of the game, what he brings to the table. It's just he's a spark plug for this defense, man. He's a live wire. It fires guys up. You could tell there was a void out there on defense on Sunday without him. So it's good to see him moving well, and hopefully he'll play on Sunday.
Yeah, I think he's trending in that direction, man. I think he is going to play on Sunday. I really do. Excited to see him back in the lineup because, like you said, man, we really missed him. I think Carrington Valentine, too, it sounds like he's probably got a good chance of playing as well. Another practice update. This came from Tom Silverstein. He said, Jaire Alexander returns and is practicing in pads today. Only injured, not practicing, are Christian Watson, Luke Musgrave, Devontae White. So double confirmation there. He said, also, I missed this. Edgerrin Cooper with the hip took part in warmups, but stayed inside. And Romeo Doubs, who practiced yesterday, stayed inside also. So everybody was like, oh, what's going on with Dobby here, right? And then we got an update a little bit later from Tom Silverstein, who says, Packers coach Matt LaFleur said that Romeo Doubs' absence is due to personal reasons. He said they were taking it day by day as to whether he would be available Sunday against the Rams. Now, you guys know most of the time when you get personal reasons, a player missing, and you don't know if he's going to play that week. I don't want to speculate too much, but probably a family issue, obviously, something like that. So thoughts and prayers out to Rome. As we know, Josh Myers had to deal with some stuff earlier. Might not be in the same vein there, Tim, but I wouldn't be surprised if Romeo Doubs suits it up on Sunday too, man. He's that kind of guy. And who knows, man. We'll hopefully, listen, if he wants the details out, they'll get out. And if not, we don't need to try to dig too much. But something obviously going on there with Rome.
And we know it's serious, right? Whatever it is, because a guy like Rome isn't gonna use that as an excuse. If he's missing for personal reasons, there's clearly something going on. So keep him in your thoughts and prayers for sure. Hopefully he plays Sunday, but hey, there's things bigger than football, right?
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. No doubt about it. And you could tell Romeo too. It sounds like he had kind of a tough upbringing, if I understood correctly. And I think he's the type of player that leans on this team. You could tell he really cares about the guys, and the guys really care about him. I remember him going to bat for Jordan Love when it was real popular before he took his first snap as a starter in Green Bay. Everybody was, well, he's never going to be able to live up to be Aaron Rodgers and this and that in the shadow. And Romes was just behind the mic every chance he got saying, Jay Love's my guy. So obviously they've worked out together for quite some time. Yeah, like I said, thoughts and prayers of Rome for whatever he's going through. When we look at the full injury report here, Tim, here's what we're looking at. All right, let's start at the top. Jaire Alexander with the groin did not participate Wednesday. He was limited today. Kenny Clark did not participate with the toe on Wednesday, limited today. So obviously trending in the right direction. Edgerrin Cooper limited with the hip on Wednesday, did not participate today. So he had a slight setback, looks like. Romeo Dobbs, obviously personal reasons, did not participate. Jonathan Ford was limited both days. It sounds like there's a good chance he will be back in the fold here real soon. Elton Jenkins did not participate Wednesday. He returned today on a limited basis. Jordan Love, look at this, Tim. Limited Wednesday, full participation today. That's what you love to see, man.
LFG, as the kids say.
Exactly. Jordan Morgan limited on both days. Luke Musgrave did not participate both days with the ankle. Carrington Valentine was limited both days. Christian Watson did not participate. I think we all feel pretty comfortable saying Christian probably not going to play this week, and that's all right. Devontae Wyatt with the ankle, too, did not participate both days. So I think we're going to be without Christian Watson and Devontae Wyatt this week, Tim. Anything else stick out to you here other than, like we said, Jordan Love being full participation?
Yeah, nice to get Jonathan Ford hopefully coming off here and being available, especially if we're going to lose Devontae Wyatt even for a game or so. So, yeah, I mean, that's my thoughts. I'm with you, Clayton. I don't think Scoot's going to play on Sunday. And obviously with the depth we have in that receiver room, we can afford to let, Christian get that rest and hopefully heal up with that high ankle sprain. People hear that and they think, oh, it's just, ankle sprain. It's like, no, dude, those are real deal. Like those are no fun, extremely painful. So giving him a week of rest makes all the sense in the world. And then, yeah, obviously, I guess Edgerrin Cooper with the hip, this is something that he dealt with, I believe, during camp. He missed a lot of time during camp, and we didn't see a lot of preseason reps because he was dealing with hip issues. So the fact that he was limited on Wednesday and then, didn't participate today maybe means they're trying to get him ready to go on Sunday. Maybe they wanted to give him a day off. Him being on the exercise bike, that's a good thing. Clearly he's still got mobility, but definitely something to watch right there with our rookie linebacker.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I love it, dude. So Jason Y with the super chat. I'm going to come right back to it. Chris in response to it says, Jason Y, kick talks cost $10 there, buddy. No. So thank you for the super chat, Jason. You're the man. He said, according to Jason Wilde, Matt Orzik noticed on Nardison misses that his plant foot is too wide and caused all the misses to go right. Actually, thank you for bringing this up, Jason. I heard this exact conversation earlier. Let me drop this injury report down for a second since we're hitting on this. I heard the exact conversation, and it's pretty cool that those guys kind of work together as a unit, try to figure things out. But I kind of giggled at Mark Tauscher's response. Tim, Mark Tauscher's response was, don't like the idea of the long snapper looking between his legs, snapping the ball, noticing that the plant leg was too wide. He said, not a ringing endorsement, in my opinion. So how do you feel about that and the fact that that Orzik noticed that? It's pretty cool if that is the case and all of a sudden that gets cleaned up. How random would that be, man?
Yeah, I mean, however you notice it, at least it was noticed, right? And kickers are a finicky bunch, superstitious. They have a lot of routine. They certainly don't always like people telling them about their game. But when you're a long snapper, someone in that unit with you notices something, you're gonna pay attention to it. And obviously, if that's the case where his plant foot's just too wide, then that's an easy correction, really. I mean, easy in the sense that you've identified the problem, you can make adjustments and work on your new positioning. Now, my question would be: is his foot too wide? As in, like he's got his heel and his toes out, and his foot is wide, or is he literally planting that plant leg too far to the left on these kicks, which is causing him to?
Tim, I could be wrong, but the way I understood it, it's too, like you said, the latter there. He's too far away.
Okay.
So Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I think that's what they were saying. Jason, you correct us if you heard it a different way, but pretty sure that's what they were saying, that he's not stepping into the kick enough, and that's forcing him to slice it right there. So push it right, I should say. But
awesome. Well, hopefully they let him work through this, and I know we've had a few auditions for kicker here at 1265 in the past few days.
right?
But let's see what happens going into this game Sunday. Again, like I always say, hopefully we don't have to rely on our kicker's leg to get a dub. Hopefully we just put tutters on the board all day. But I think Braden Arvison, he's a young kicker, man, and he's got time to work through these kind of things. And the first step is identifying the problem. So now you can make an adjustment. But yeah, it is kind of interesting that it took the long snapper to see it. You would think maybe Daniel Whelan would see it, on the hold, or, maybe Coach B on the sideline sees it, or they see it in film, but nope, your long snapper saw it. So if he's done nothing else for us this year, Matt Orzic has identified the problem with our kicker, and we're gonna get it corrected. So it's awesome.
I know this 2024, when we look back, we're still doing podcasts in 2 or 3 years. We're going to look back. 2024 is the year of the kicker because, man, we have talked about kickers so much. I think it's hilarious. And we'll talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. I think it's important. Obviously, you got to get the kicking situation situated, for lack of a better way of putting it. But, Jason, thank you so much for the super chat, buddy. We appreciate you. Greg Rice coming in hot said, did I understand you both yesterday that you did not hold 10 responsible for throwing Watson a hospital pass? He went on to say, if I was Watson, I would have lost a lot of trust in my QB. So first things first, Greg, no, we said totally the opposite, bub. So I need that stay off the damn weed drop there, Tim, if you got that in your pocket. We'll need to hit that. So, yeah, we were saying damn weed. We were actually responding to the people that were talking about Christian Watson being made of glass and fragile and weak and all those things that stupid fans like to throw around, and saying, no, but that's a hospital ball. That's on the QB there throwing that pass. And then what you went on to say here, if I was Watson, I would have lost trust in my QB. If you may have heard Jordan Love talk about it, Greg, he took complete responsibility for it. And I guarantee you this, Christian Watson will go up and do the same thing again. He try to make that catch again, no doubt about it. So I think the only divide that we have is within the fan base that are trying to, not that you're doing this, Greg, but there are a lot of people trying to paint this picture that Christian Watson is, like I said, made of glass. And then the others are trying to make it sound as if Jordan Love is reckless with the football and doesn't care about his receiver. None of those are true, I don't think so.
Yep. I agree. 100%.
Yeah.
Trying to make a play, right? You're getting your butts kicked in a game. You're trying to thread the needle. It happens. These are grown men playing a grown man's game. Let's be real. They're all hospital balls. I mean, guys can end their career at any point playing this game. So, it was just one of those freak things, man. It's not really on anybody specifically. Yeah,
no doubt, man.
Which shows you what type of dude our QB1 is, right? Because Jordan took full responsibility for it, putting him in that position. So it says a lot about our quarterback.
I completely agree. Back to the injury report here. Cooper Kupp on the Rams side obviously did not participate. He's pretty much out. Obviously, Puka Nacua is on the injured reserve, so they're going to be without their top 2 receivers. But, boys, don't sleep on Sean McVay, man. He's got a couple receivers already stepping in and filling that role. I won't say just fine. Obviously, Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, I think, are 2 legit number 1 wide receivers. Yep. But they're definitely going to be missed. You got to scheme around it for sure. Laurel Murchison, defensive end, was limited on Wednesday, did not participate on Thursday today. Darius Williams was limited on Wednesday. He's a cornerback. He was full participation today. And DeMarcus Robinson, wide receiver with the hip, limited on Wednesday, full participation today. So the Rams, they look healthy when you look at the injury report, but a lot of those guys are already on injured reserve, Tim. I know their offensive line's been struggling as well. I think that's kind of led to Matt Stafford playing maybe a little less effective as we're used to seeing him play. But anything else you want to hit on with the injury report there, man?
No, I think you hit it on the head. I mean, with them being down Nacua and Cooper Kupp, it doesn't mean that McVay is not going to be, scheming up tight ends and, guys, running backs, things like that. So, I mean, the offense is still going to click and be a threat. But, yeah, with the O-line being banged up, let's look for this Packers pass rush to get right, tee off again like we did against the Colts a few weeks ago. I want to see the pressures and the sacks step up a little bit here, and this is the perfect scenario, I think, for our defensive group to do that. So we'll see.
Yeah, no doubt, man. All right, let's move it along here. Emilio will be joining us here shortly. I can just sense that he's close by here. But defensive coverages through week 4, all right, during the 2024 NFL season. Just to take a quick glance, let's look at the Packers and what their coverage chart looks like, and then we'll also look at the Rams, kind of see what it is they like to run as well. Okay, so again, this is on defense, all right? These are each of these teams' coverages that they're running on defense. This was provided on Twitter. I'm trying to think of who tweeted it out. Football Insights tweeted it out. And obviously came from, there it is right there, a table at football_insights. Make sure you go give them a follow, all that good stuff. The data came from Fantasy Points, NFL, FASTR. All right, so here we go. Packers, 32% of the time they are playing cover 3. All right, cover 3 zone defense, 32% of the time. 20% of the time they're in cover 1 man. You've seen that number jump a little bit, Tim. Well, we sure seen it on Sunday, no doubt about it.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Right. And then let's see, next would be cover 6 defense. Of course, that's half the field cover 4, the other half cover 2. That's at 14%. Also at 14% is cover 2 zones. So you got a very zone-heavy defense being called. Cover 3, cover 2, cover 6. Then cover 4 comes in at 13%. And then cover 0, which is a 0 blitz, only 1% of the snaps. So essentially what it shakes out to being with cover 2 man being less than 1%. 21% of the time you're in man coverage. The rest of the time you're in zone across the board. So EPA for the defense is now at a positive 0.03. That would be what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, roughly 17th in EPA allowed right now. And then EPA per drop back, I apologize. And then when it comes to the Rams, let's see kind of where the Rams are sitting with their defense. Boy, they're way down the list here, boys. They're next to last at a 0.31 allowed.
Let me bring that ticker down so you can see the bottom of that list there.
Wild that the Commanders are playing so good. Their defense is playing so bad, but Jaden Daniels is just dragging that team, and that's just wild as a rookie doing historic things. But, yeah, the Rams are next to last at 0.31. They're a very young defense. When it comes to coverage, they play cover 3 39% of the time. They play cover 6 18% of the time. They play cover 1 man 18% of the time, cover 4 zone 11% of the time, and 0 blitz 2% of the time. So, again, what you're going to see here a lot from the Rams most likely is cover 3, cover 6, cover 1 man is going to be the coverages they lean into the most, and you got 10% cover 2. So you're going to get your share of zone defense when you really tally it up. Man versus zone, they're running man coverage 20% of the time. So that's how that shakes out. A little bit less than we are. But anything surprise you there, boys? Emilio, we'll start with you here, man, as we're looking at these coverages. Yeah. It kind of feels like what we've seen, right?
Yeah, definitely. And honestly, Jordan Love's been going up against it. Look at our numbers. I mean, we're running a lot of middle field close, so that will help them. I think the Rams have 12 on IR right now. So, this is a game the offense has to show up and take a little pressure off the defense so that defense can eat. Let's get them into like Hafley was talking about in his interview and stuff. Let's get them into a 2nd and 7. Let's get them into a 2nd and 8. Try to push that 3rd down so that we can let the D-line eat. And I think that's really going to help the stat people look at the numbers and kind of be happier with where they're at. But, like Hafley said, all that matters is us winning the game at the end of the game. It doesn't matter. He goes, yeah, if I could get them to be, as excelled as they are in their position, all the stats that they need or want. But, at the end of the day, it's a team game. We need to win the game and then move forward from there. So I'm ready for them to play the Rams. I think they got a good eye. When we played them last, it was 20-3. So
yeah. Yeah, he's. I think LaFleur hasn't lost the game yet to McVay, Tim, but man, that's bulletin board material too. We got to be careful. It could be a trap game, no doubt.
Right. Yeah, like I said, this is kind of a must-win for both of these teams right now. We're looking to get right, and not drop another game here. And the Rams are desperately looking for a win. So you can't rule anybody out in this type of matchup. So I think it'll be an entertaining game to say the least.
Yeah, no doubt. Prince did have a chat just a second ago I wanted to hit on. He said, so Wyatt has avoided IR, question mark. As of right now, last I heard, he has not been put on IR, Prince. So it sounds like we dodged another one there. Hopefully that's the case. It sounds like he's definitely going to be out this week, I would imagine, possibly next week. But anytime you don't go on that 4-week IR, I know there were waiting tests too, so I don't know how that's going to shake out, whether if he goes on IR before Sunday, that counts as 1 week. I'm imagining that's how that works. But maybe a little later we'll see.
Limited.
Yeah, limited. There you go. That's all we got, limited. So there's your coverage. And since we were talking coverage, I thought this was cool. Matt Schneidman tweeted out, Packers DB coach Ryan Downard said Xavier McKinney texts him each week asking when he can get his hands on tape of his upcoming quarterback opponent.
Here's
We love
the
it.
guy.
when the DB coach is, this dude's hounding the heck out of me trying to get the QB tape, man, the QB cut up. I love it. Maybe we need to. Why don't we start a GoFundMe and get Xavier McKinney NFL Pro so he'll have everything?
Heard it from a fan right here.
McKinney, though, man, obviously just continues to impress. Hafley said earlier today he thinks he's the best safety in the game. And I think he's grading out 5th best according to PFF, which we know certain measurables you could say he's the best, others maybe not. He's definitely been all the difference maker for the Packers. And again, I always say I bet Joe Barry's sitting back somewhere going, these son of a guns couldn't get me that guy when I was there. I was having to deal with Jonathan Owens and Darnell Savage. Are you kidding me? So we actually had Hafley earlier today at the podium. Had a couple of drops here, so let's hit them real quick. First thing first, it says I tweeted out Packers defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley talks about how Rashan Gary is getting extra attention, chipping, and how they will continue to move him around to force more one-on-one reps. Now, I know there are some people that have somehow convinced themselves that Rashan Gary is not getting double teamed. I don't understand. Anyway, didn't want to get too much back into the weeds with this, but just wanted to play what Jeff Hafley had to say today. Here he is talking about Rashan Gary.
Speaking of Rashan specifically, Rebs was in here yesterday talking about how much attention other teams give him, whether it's double teams or thumps. How challenging is it to still game plan ways to get him opportunities when teams are doing that to him?
I think it goes back and forth, right? We got to move him around. We got to see how teams are going to come out and protect against us, and then counter that and change things up in the game. If they're doing one thing to take him away, we got to find another way to get him involved. And then if they're going to try to find ways to take him away, then we have to have our other guys show up, or we have to scheme other ways to pressure opposite him and do a bunch of things schematically, which I think you guys kind of saw last week, right? We went into the game and, we didn't get as much pressure early. And I think it started to show up pretty much on second and third down in the second half of that game. But we'll continue to work and do some things with him where I think you're going to see him have success.
So there you go. Obviously, Hafley not concerned. And it's everything. The frustrating part about this whole conversation is there are some people that just press into analytics, and it's like you've got several different measurables you can use, right? Mm-hmm. And you can go off of pressures. You can go off of, pass rush win rate. The problem I have with pass rush win rate is you don't have enough data to determine, okay, what does that pass rush win mean? What's the situation? What was his assignment? There's all this. It's just let's throw all of the pass rush snaps into one big bundle here. And whether he's an E in the ET stunt and he's supposed to kind of sacrifice himself there, now he's walking right into in some cases, it's not even considered a double team, although he's going across the face of one guy into another dude. That's going to be counted as a pass rush loss, right? Mm-hmm. So really, you look at pressure percentage, things like that, and you got to take into account the tape. It's just amazing that the loudest people who want to throw one or two guys under the bus every year, they're just looking at data. They're looking at numbers. Well, nope, this says this says that. And if you were to ask them, okay, what exactly does that mean? Who graded that? Who determined whether it was a true win or a neutral snap or not? They can't tell you that. Nobody knows because they're faceless people working for a company, right? Mm-hmm. That's why it's important. Don't just buy into everything you hear. Go watch it yourself and make your own conclusion. That's why I was trying to tweet out videos and, all right, here's all his third down rushes. There's nothing's being hit here. Let's look at his third down rushes. And he was still impacting the plays. Now, is he as good as he has been in the past? Absolutely not. But the issue is No one on that defensive line is playing well right now, right? But to suggest let's throw the baby out with the bathwater, man, it just blows my mind. So everything he's talking about here, Emilio, we watched the tape. We've kind of combed through it. I know me and Tim, we did Chalk Talk the other day and all that. You were in here too.
Yeah.
Like, I don't watch Rashan Gary rush the quarterback and go, man, he sucks this year. I don't see it. I'm seeing him battling through chips. I'm seeing him battle through chips and still get a hand in a throwing lane to where a dude has to change off platform. I'm seeing him tackle Aaron Jones inside the 5 on a goal line situation where he's fighting through a couple of blocks to make a stand there. Like, I just don't see it, man. I really don't.
And even Haf was saying, Rashan isn't probably happy with where his production's at. He knows he doesn't, what was he saying? He doesn't need the excitement, or he doesn't need to be coached up on this, because Rashan brings that energy every day. He comes with that attitude. I think that he really is going to explode here. It's just like we were all mad, or we all wanted the change of the defense, and then 2 weeks in, we're mad that the defense isn't working. We get 8 sacks. We're super excited the defense is working, and then by week 4, we're upset because we don't think it's working again. I mean, we gave Joe Barry 3 years. Hafley's had 4 games. We are leading the league in turnovers. And it's not anything that, he's not trying to fix. He's over there. He's like, I got to coach him better. I got to do this, and that. I got to put him in a better position, and me putting him in a better position, coaching him better, giving him one extra step, trying to put him in an advantageous situation on the line, move him around, give him a different group, put him out there with LVN and Enigbare and just, all pass rushers, something to try to give him that explosiveness. Because it's not like Rashan can't beat the dude in front of you. I know we were hitting that, but
yeah, no doubt. And we had a question here in the chat. Let's see here. Not that one. We'll get to it in a second. Greg Rice says, doesn't Gary lead us in pressures? According to NFL Pro and Next Gen Stats, quarterback pressure rate for the Green Bay Packers, number 1 on the team at 10.9% is Rashan Gary. Now, why do I take that over pass rush win rate? Because that's the pressure being put on the quarterback. And you've got to take into consideration the fact that Gary is being chipped 5th most in the league, ahead of Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons, and Aiden Hutchinson. So teams are they're allocating more offensive resources to stopping Rashan Gary than 3 pass rushers that, in my opinion, are way better than Rashan Gary. So it should tell you, listen, the analytics suggest Gary all of a sudden forgot how to play football, okay? But other NFL coaches deem him such a threat that they're going to allocate 2 players to him on individual snaps. But, yeah, he sucks at football all of a sudden.
Right.
You got to let the scheme take hold. And, again, we don't know what they're being taught. Some people go, well, no, we're supposed to be a one-gap team now. I tried to warn people. Guys, we played a ton of one-gap last year because we were in nickel with single-back sets that we were facing. And, again, if we go through 2 years of this and people are still going to keep regurgitating the nonsense on Twitter that these hot-button topics of, well, the data suggests this, watch the tape. Understand what the scheme is calling for. It's like the double-team thing. When people say Preston Smith's being double-teamed more than Rashan Gary, watch how many ET stunts they're running with Preston Smith. An ET stunt is designed to take on a double team. It's not like teams are going, all right, guys, let's get the guard and the tackle on Preston Smith. Most double teams are manufactured by the defense. And again, I didn't even want to go down this trail, but
us tape guys, us tape watchers.
Isn't it amazing how that's literally an argument? And listen, you guys know we lean perfect. We lean on analytics too. We lean on all the numbers. We dive into this stuff on a daily basis. We're doing it right now. Like just asked, I hit on the pressure percentage. But it's not the most important thing. The most important thing is trying to understand, what do we think the play call was? That's why we do Chalk Talk. I got so like what this reeks of is the whole Aaron Rodgers argument in 2022. Like, you want to cherry pick one or two things and say he's all of a sudden horrible, right? And you don't want to mention he's got a broken thumb. You don't want to mention that the receivers led the league in drops that year. And you don't want to mention that a first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback in Kurt Warner's going, they screwed that choice route up. They scored that choice route up. No, people were just making excuses for Aaron Rodgers. And it's every year we've got to pick one or two players or one or two coaches and go, they're the reason they're the reason we didn't go 18-0 or 17-0. They're the reason. So I just hate that whole rhetoric. I really do, man. It drives me insane. So there's my soapbox.
Because I was looking up some numbers, and looking at the defense versus quarterbacks that they played in the 4 games, there's been 83 completions on 130 attempts with 1,017 passing yards, 8 touchdowns, 8 picks.
Yeah.
I mean, am I mad at that? No. I mean, I'm not. I'll pull up the Lions here. They're 4 games in, 105 completions, 158 attempts, 1,104 yards, and 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. So we've given up 4 more touchdowns, but we've also gotten 4 more interceptions. I mean, I'm not mad that where our defense is at. I think they're going to get better week by week. And like Hafley said, he learned a lot about the team when he saw that they were down 28-0 and they came back and only gave up 3 points in the second half and didn't, just keel over kind of thing. So I think that's huge for this team.
Yeah, Tim Reese says, stop speaking truth. No one wants to hear it. Ha ha, so good. So,
I'm not going to, so quit asking.
I've got to learn to tune that stuff out. But when I hear people say stuff like that, it immediately makes me think, okay, am I missing something, right? So I immediately go back to the tape. And that's where the answers all lies. We all have access to the tape. You can go watch it and see for yourself. Yep. And then I find myself coming back, and it's like, now the argument is slightly shifted to, like, remember last year, it was all about sacks. Yep. Like, I don't care about the pressure rate. I don't care about the pass rush win percentage. We need sacks. We need sacks. The pressure rate and the win percentage was through the roof, but we weren't hitting home with sacks, and it was Gary's a bum. Well, now we're not hitting home with the sacks, and he's literally occupying 2 offensive players, and now it's no, that doesn't matter. Now we got 8 sacks in one game, 8. And I remember, Emilio, we did the post or the show the next day, and then it was a couple of days later. Everybody's on cloud 9, and I'm thinking in my mind, the pass rush isn't that good, right? Like, but you hit home with 8, you need to celebrate it. Now we went from the pass rush is legendary to now they suck again. It's like anyway,
and we were up, right? Being able to tee off is a lot different than being down 4 touchdowns. So I think that. The production is there. I think that they can do it. We saw Rashan take down, Jalen Hurts in 2.5 seconds. No one wants to talk about that one, but it was the first sack and he nailed it. So, honestly, it's just like it's something that he can do, and I don't understand. Hafley even said it. He said, when you guys asked me about Quay 2 weeks ago, and I started smiling and said he's getting better, I stand behind that he's going to be improving there. He said the same thing about Rashan this week. It's gonna, it's not like Rashan isn't a talented player.
Yeah. And the reason being is because when you turn on the tape, you've seen Darnold getting rid of the football quick. Like, we're running cover 1 man. He's got a guy 6 yards of separation. What do you want Gary to do in that situation? And oh, by the way, that specific play, tight end chips him, sheds it. Defense or right tackle, one of the better right tackles in the league, by the way. He sheds him, gets a hand up, and almost bats the ball down.
You're talking about the Eric Stokes drag?
Yes.
Yeah.
The mesh play.
Yep. He was talking about that too. He said, to be honest, looking at it, I'd have to go back and look at that specific play to tell you what Eric Stokes could have done differently. He said, but we were in cover 1 man and we brought the pressure that needs to get, they got there, but it didn't get there like it needed to. So, I mean, it's one in itself that they both need to help each other to make the play.
Yep.
AFAM said, take a pay cut, Tim. He's talking about Rashan Gary. He said, that's what I would like them to do. So, and again, that's what ends up happening when players get paid. All of a sudden, it's like now they're on this pedestal of, boy, they better be the second coming of Deacon Jones, or we're ready to run their ass out of town.
Yep.
Right? So,
yep. I think you hit it on the head, though, too, Clayton, when you talk about metrics. A lot of people like to cherry pick metrics or cherry pick stats or, look in one direction to get their answers. And it's not a good way to dissect this stuff. I mean, like Emilio just said, Hafley's first comment was, I'd have to go back and watch the film on that.
Right.
So clearly they're using metrics, right? They've got numbers, they've got stats, DVOA, all these, all our cute acronyms that we have now for analyzing football. But at the end of the day, they're going to look at the film, right? You got to do all of this. So I think you're cheating yourselves if you're, that would go the same for us. If we just, watch tape all day and we didn't pay attention to any of these numbers, we'd be just as guilty as the next guy being one-dimensional. So I think it's important that you try to educate yourself as a fan and get as much information as you possibly can and do a little bit of everything when you're researching.
And to be very clear, there is no one on this show saying the pass rush is playing good. We're not saying that. We're simply pointing out that everybody's piling on this one dude as if he sucks at football all of a sudden, and it's just simply not the case. It's not. Quarterback pressure, again, you can go look this up yourself. Quarterback pressure percentage, Rashan Gary leads the team at 10.9%. Preston Smith at 8.7%, Kenny Clark at 8.7%, then it drops off significantly after that. Now, there may be some minimal snaps involved there that I was trying to sort through, but that's just kind of on the landing page here for the next-gen stats. Now, the other thing, quick to pressure, which basically means you pressured the quarterback in under 3 seconds. Guess who leads the team? Kenny Clark and Rashan Gary with 3. So it's like, that statistic right there matters, because if they're sitting back there for longer than 3 seconds, or if the ball's coming out before 3 seconds, is that what it is? Yeah, under 3 seconds. The ball's coming out in under 3 seconds. Guys, there's nothing a defensive line can do there. That's why some teams like to play presses, because they're seeing them. They're getting picked apart. The pass rush can't hit home because people are playing the RPO game, things like that. So, again, it's just like Hafley said, they're using different tactics to move them around. Like you've seen him line up on the opposite side of the line, and they ran a TE stunt with a nickel blitz. Lo and behold, or not a nickel blitz, they ran a will fire off of a ET or a TE stunt. So the tackle fans out, Gary loops around. Guess what happened on that play? The guard gets a hand on Gary, and Aaron Jones sticks him in the hole, right? So again, he's having to work through the muddy water and then through an extra blocker in Aaron Jones. And guess what happens? Quay Walker hits home for a sack. And what'd you see Gary do? Pointed that finger up like, boom, that's a success. He's not worried about his personal sacks. On that specific play, it's not designed for Gary to come free. It's designed to muddy the water and Quay fire off that will and hit home with the sack. Mission accomplished. And again, the pass rush isn't playing great. They're not even playing good, in my opinion. But the fact that you want to rake the dude over the coals that's leading the team in pressure percentage is just beyond me. Oh, and like I said, the quick pressure is under 3 seconds. So the other big talking point here, too, is obviously Kenny Clark. Eric Sutherland, I'm not worried about Gary. Emilio's the one who stinks. You heard it from a fan right here. So here was Coach Hafley talking about Kenny Clark earlier today as well. I just tweeted out, defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley talks about Kenny Clark and how the, quote, lack of production stems from how they have game planned the teams they have played so far. Where have you heard that before? You know where I got it from? Matt LaFleur. He stood right at the podium and said it has a lot to do with the pressure, the pressure game plan that they're putting in place. But here was Jeff Hafley talking about that very thing in Kenny Clark.
Just what have been your impressions on Kenny Clark and how he's played just up to this point in the year?
I love Kenny. Practices hard every day. We played him a lot of snaps in the last game. I think he's helping us in the run game a lot. And I think we can do more things to help him get more production in the pass game. And some of that is of who we played in our first 4 games.
What did he just say? Oh, he must be lying.
I mean, I think everybody, last week we're up here and we're asking how we got 8 sacks. And now I'm sure everybody wants to know why we didn't get 8 more last week. I wish we had 9. I mean, that's how our league is, right? We got to keep those going. I think Kenny's done a good job. I think he's one of the best interior D linemen in the NFL. And I think as this thing shakes out, everybody's going to continue to see that.
So again, I don't think Kenny is playing great. I don't. But you got to really step back a minute and go. If everybody on the defensive line is showing numbers down this year, that's not a coincidence. You're not going to convince me Kenny Clark, Rashan Gary, Preston Smith, Devontae White, and Carl Brooks, all of a sudden these guys just forgot how to play football. There's something going on schematically that they're seeing. It might be a throwing lane, too. That's the other thing that many people don't take. I darn sure know that some of the analytics people share to prove their point isn't taken into consideration. The game plan may have been geared around taking away the A-gap throwing lanes, right? Like there's a lot of different things that come into factor. And that's why, once again, the answer is always in watching the tape. It's just hilarious that those people refuse to watch the tape. They just go, I know the tape guy said this, but the 17 analytic column says something else. Anybody can read numbers. Learn how to watch the tape and understand what's going on schematically. Anyway,
you want me to read off some numbers for you? 10th in the league right now. So I sorted by defense versus running back. We are 10th in the league, 72 attempts, 333 yards, 2 touchdowns for rushing, and then 23 targets, 19 receptions, and 130. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry. 23 targets, 19 receptions, 197 yards, and 1 touchdown for receiving. Just given up strictly to running backs. I mean, that's not terrible. We've played Aaron Jones, and we played Swift. Or no, who's Saquon? There we go. I don't know what else.
Saquon, top 3 back in the league.
Dealt with Pollard as well.
So I'll take that.
Absolutely. That's going to do it for hour 1. For those of you listening on the pod, we'll see you on the other side. For hour 2, we're going to continue with Jeff Hafley at the podium.